All right, hey everyone. So today we're going to talk about estimating solutions. That is 5.3a. That's what we're going to be working on today. So estimating solutions, you might see different examples of this. So estimating is a great way to check if your answer is reasonable without solving the entire problem. And I'll show you how that looks here in a second. We'll learn how to estimate sums, differences, products, and quotients. So let's go ahead and jump in. So, all right, guys. So, like I said, you might see adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing with this standard, with this TEAC. All right. So, anytime you see 5.3a, you just know you're going to have to estimate or round. So, let's go ahead and look at this. Mr. Marquez had 123 eggs in his refrigerator in his restaurant. So, he already has that. He put 32 more cartons of eggs in the refrigerator. Each carton contained 18 eggs. Which of the following is the best estimate of the number of eggs Mr. Marcus now has in his refrigerator? So just by looking at this, we can solve it and then try to figure that out. But the point of 5.3a is to estimate. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take 18, 18, and then what can 18 round to? 18 to me is close to 20, right? 18 eggs, just close to the closest tens, I guess. And then 32, if we're rounding to the closest tens, well, let's go ahead and do that. 32, if we round, that'll be 30. And again, just a little rounding lesson. Whenever you want to round, so for example, here we're rounding to the nearest tens. You go to the place value, tens, you look over, and then if the number is equal to 5 or higher, the number that you're looking at, then the place value will go one number up. So for example, 8 is higher than 5, so the 1 is going to turn into a 2. And then everything else is a 0. And again with the 32, exactly the same. I go to the tens place, I look over, and the 2 is lower than 5, so that means 3 is going to stay the same. Okay? 3 stays at 30. So in my mind, I already know 3 times. I know we're going to multiply because he says each carton has 18 eggs, and he put 32 more in there. Again, we rounded 32 to 30 and 18 to 20. So we know that we can just do 30 times 20. I know that if I multiply two tens times 3 tens is 6 tens, or yeah, 6 tens. But let's go ahead and do this here. Let's just go ahead and try to solve it here. 0. Then you have a what is this? A 3. Yeah, 0 again. 0. Sorry. And then you put your 0 because this isn't 2, it's a 20. So, and then you do 0 here, and then what is this? 3 times 2 is 6. Go ahead and add that. Now you have 600. So about 600 eggs. Okay. Go ahead and put our units there. Eggs. Now we could see 600, and then automatically go for A here. But remember, he said he had 123 already in there. So let's go ahead and look at that. So to me, 123, we could either round to the nearest tens or the nearest hundreds. So if we round to the nearest tens, we look at this. This is the 2 looks over to the neighbor. It's just the 3. That's lower than 5. We're going to stay at 120. If we round to the nearest hundreds, if we round to the nearest hundreds, and I'll do that here, 123, we go to the hundredths place, look over next door, and then look at that. It's a 2, which is less than 5, so that means 1 stays the same and everything else. So whichever one of these we picked, we would say 600 plus the 100 eggs that are already in there would give us 700. And then if we did 600 by this number over here, which is 120, would give us 720. Again, not that far off. our answer would be H. Okay, so this is kind of there. This is basically how you look at these type of problems. You really have to think about rounding, and if you round wrong, you could get the wrong answer. Again, we can actually solve the problem. So let me go ahead and clear this off. All right, guys, we're back. So let's go ahead and look at this. If I wanted to actually solve this, I would do 32 times the 18. And then 8 times 2 is 16. Bring my 1 up. 3 times 8 is 24. Plus 1 is 25. This isn't a 1, it's a 10 because it's in the 10th place, so 110, so we got to put a 0 here. So 1 times 2 is 2, and then 1 times 3 is 3. Alright, you add this together, we have 6. This is 5 plus 2 is 7. 3 plus 2 is 5. Now, remember, let's not forget the 123 eggs that we already had in the fridge. So 23. Let's go ahead and add that. 6 plus 3 is 9. 7 plus 2 is 9 again. And then 5 plus 1 is 6. 690. This would be our exact answer. Eggs. Eggs. Okay. Now, which answer choice is closest to it? C. Okay. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at one more example. Okay, guys. Here we go with another another question for the standard, which is again. Oops, sorry. 5.3a. Let me move my screen a little bit. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and read this question. It says a chemist compares the amount of water in 2 jars. So we got 2 jars. We'll just go ahead and draw them. And then here's another one. And then it says jar X and jar, this is Y. Okay. This one X contains 192 and 6/10 milliliters. Okay. And then this one contains 705 and 2/10 milliliters. Okay. Approximately how many more milliliters does jar Y have than jar X? So we know automatically how many more means we're subtracting. So let's go ahead and look at this. I know that just by looking at 705 and 2/10, if I wanted to round to the nearest whole or hundred, I can look at this and just say, you know what, 705 is really close to 700, because if I look at the 7 and look over, there's a 0 right there. I'm going to say that 705 and 2/10 rounds to 700. It's really close, right? Now, let's look at 192. So we'll look at 192 and 6/10, and this one is, well, if we're rounding to the nearest hundreds, let's do that with this one as well. So 1, and it looks over to the 9. Oh, look at that. That's higher than 5. It has to be 5 or greater, right? And we have a 9 here, so that is greater. So that means that the 1 turns into a 2. And then everything else turns into a 0, okay? You could put the decimals here. Again, because it's all zeros, we can just leave it at that. So now we can actually just solve how we would normally solve. 700 minus 200. 0, that's 0, and then that's 5. Our answer is C. Sorry about this, guys. My arrow. Oh my god, that's going to be worse. There we go. So my answer is 500. Okay. So yeah, guys. I like to think that whenever we round, we look at, like, for example, if the first one we rounded to the hundreds, let's do that with the next number. And that usually really helps out in helping trying to identify what place value you're rounding to. All right, guys. Well, that's it for 5.3a. Let's keep practicing.